everybody, Frank Kern here. Hope you're doing well. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to start out by showing you a cool tactic. Then I'm going to show you how to apply the tactic to your life. And then I'm going to ask for your help in spreading this message to other people. And no, this does not involve you buying anything, although you're welcome to send money at any time. All right, let's get started. So the way this whole video came about was a few days ago, I was asked to do an interview to be in a book, a legitimate book and everything, published by, I think, Penguin or something, about business and so forth. And the person interviewing me asked me what one of my greatest secrets to success was. And I realized that it didn't really rely on any particular marketing tactic or strategy, that mostly, for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, most of the success in business comes from what's going on in here. So I want to show you something really cool to sort of help get your mind right, if you will, when it comes to going forth and selling stuff and having a good time and being laid back and not having any stress. So let's go. We're going to do a little bit of reverse engineering, all right? So in business, and specifically the type of business you and I are involved in, which is typically going to be the sale of information and services and so forth over the good old interwebs, in that context, really nothing happens, right, until something gets sold. So in our little reverse engineering thing here, we'll start out with sales. All right, so now as you would probably guess, you cannot really generate a sale unless you take some sort of action, right? So action leads to sales. Duh, okay? I know, heavy stuff. All right, now, if we reverse engineer it even further, rarely do you take an action, or do I take an action, anybody? Rarely does anyone take an action without a conscious or unconscious decision being made, all right? And, stay with me here, the decisions are dramatically influenced by and affected by the thoughts that we have, right? And the thoughts that we have are greatly governed by the input that we put in the old noggin. So what I mean by this is the stuff that we feed our brains ultimately has the greatest effect on our success. That's my belief anyway, and I'm generating this from my own personal experience. So if you stay home all day and you watch television and you watch the news or something, and you watch that channel where all they do is complain and talk about how horrible everything is, then that is going to affect your thoughts, which is going to affect your decision, which is probably going to cause you to be like, to hell with it, what's the point in trying, right? Which is going to affect your action, or possibly lack thereof, which ultimately affects your sales, which has, of course, the greatest impact on your sideways dollar sign there, on the money that you make. So the question is, how do we really make all of this stuff work in our favor? Because we have two choices as business people and just as people in general. We can consciously govern this whole process, or we could unconsciously go through life and really just be slaves, basically, to the input that we're allowing to randomly come into our minds. And the choice is ours. So let me show you something that's kind of cool. So here is my belief, all right? I think that our mind is as easily influenced as a small child. All right, so here's how I came up with this little thing I'm going to show you. I've got two kids, two daughters, right? One is 5, the oldest is about to turn 8. And I watch what happens to them when they watch television. And I noticed that how what's coming in to their minds influences their behavior. And I developed this theory that our minds are pretty much just like those little girls. That whatever you're putting into the mind is going to really almost immediately affect all the stuff that we just talked about. So if you think about it, everything that we watch or read or listen to really has like a core message, right? So I'd like you to do this little exercise with me. Take out a piece of the old paper or something and draw one of these fancy graphs like this. And on the left, put input. On the right, put message. Or massage, if you feel like it. Okay? So, now what we're going to do is we're going to take all the stuff that we watch and read, and we're going to put it on this left-hand side. So, we'll take, for a lot of folks, the news. If I can spell news right. Here we go. Talking and writing. Very difficult task to do simultaneously. All right, so we start with the news. What's another one that we put into our minds? Tabloids. Okay. And talk radio. Okay. All right, and your list may be different. I'm just giving these as examples. All right, so now here's the input. Now let's dissect the message that each one of these things sends into the mind. So we'll take the news. Now if you watch the news, and everyone's going to have their own interpretation of this, but for me, if I watch the news, the core message that I get from this is that the world is dangerous and we are not safe, right? So the core message is there's going to be danger here. All right? So now if we take the old tabloids and gossip rags and everything that so many people read, sometimes myself included, all right, and you take the core message from what they're saying, my interpretation would be that people are bad. Right? Because really, all those magazines are ever about is how so-and-so got sent to rehab or wrecked their car or beat up their wife or husband or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So the core message there is just like everybody's horrible, all right, which is fine. So now let's talk about talk radio. When I say talk radio, I specifically mean like pick a side. It doesn't matter, but it's usually one dude is ranting against the other dudes and then, you know, they have their other side too, right? So if I were to dissect the core message from talk radio, I would say that the message would be, they are ruining it for you. All right, so the core message of talk radio is they are ruining it for you. All right, so you remember how I said that our minds are similar basically to a little kid and are as easily influenced as a small child would be? So with that in mind, imagine this. Imagine you have someone taking these messages, right, and just standing beside a little 5-year-old girl and just every day repeating into her ear, you're in danger. You are not safe. People are bad. They are ruining it for you. So imagine what effect that would have on that child if we gave them that message over and over again every day. It would be detrimental. And of course you wouldn't stand for it. So if you have children, what would you say to someone who is just yelling that into your child's brain every single day? You would probably say things that I shouldn't repeat in this video, right? Because you wouldn't stand for it. But we allow it to happen to our own minds all the time. However, we can fix this. Let me show you how. Okay, so now let's get out a separate piece of paper. We're going to draw a similar graph on there. And now we're going to flip it. So on this side, we'll write message. And on this side, we'll write down input or source. So what we do now from this point is we just flip everything. So let's start here and we'll write down the message that you want going into your mind, right? And over here, we're going to write down where you can get that message. So let's begin. I think a very positive message for me personally, and one that I received a lot when I was learning, is you can do it. Another very productive and positive message that we could put into the old brain would be that people are good, and we can even make that better by saying, helping, can't spell. People are good, helping them leads to greatness. And of course, your message that you want can be anything, right? So don't let me tell you what messages to put in your brain. I'm just giving examples here of what would be helpful. And the third one, and this is a core belief of mine, is that success is duplicatable. Right? So of course, I'm framing all this around the financial success world because that's typically what we discuss when we're together, right? But this could be anything, right? You could want messages about your own personal health, about your relationships, whatever. This is just messages that you want coming into your brain instead of the ones that might not be so productive. So now what we're going to do is over here on the other side of our fancy chart, we're going to find where you can get these messages every day. So we'll begin with the first, all right? Where can you get this core message repeatedly? Well, for some, that would be people like Tony Robbins, all right? People like Jim Rohn, all of the old masters, yeah? For you, it could be anybody. I'm just giving examples here. This core message, people are good, helping them leads to greatness. This could be anywhere as well. A lot of people get this message from church. Of course, this is not any endorsement of a particular religion or anything. Wherever you want to get this message is fine, but this is a clearly one, like that dude Joel Osteen, whatever it is, has a pretty good message along those lines. Doesn't matter where you get it, as long as you get it if that's what works for you. Even stuff you read, right? So it doesn't have to be going somewhere or listening to someone. It could be publications like Success Magazine. That's got a pretty good message around this whole central area, and right here too. It comes from the old Success Magazine. Again, no affiliation or anything. This could even come, any of these messages could even come from a peer group, right? And by this, you could define this as your friends that you hang out with, and even websites that you visit. So there are marketing forums, for example, that give this message out, right? They're really great communities online, such as Ed Dale's 30-Day Challenge would be one of them. Very positive, constructive area. And there are people that have the negative message that you might not want to go to. Either way, these are good places to get that message. All right, and finally, this message for me is very important. The message that success is duplicatable, and I get this personally from reading Success Stories. Reading success stories of people who have achieved whatever goal it is that I personally want to achieve, and there are many people who have achieved the goal way before me. So I love reading their success stories because I believe that no people are better than the other. No man is better than another man, right? So, or a woman. So if one man or woman can accomplish something, there's a pretty good chance that you and I can accomplish the same thing, or at least get close, right? So maybe we all can't play guitar like Jimi Hendrix, but if we work hard enough, we can get kind of close. We can get to be pretty damn good, you know, better than all the other guys in our neighborhood, right? So all of these messages are ones that are good. These are all great sources of this message. So my challenge to you, my suggestion to you, is after you do this exercise, take the sources of the poisonous messages and replace them with these sources, and replace these good messages into your mind. And when you do, that will affect your thoughts, which impact your decisions, which impact your actions, which impact your sales and your productivity, which ultimately affects your bottom line. So do you remember at the beginning of this video I said that ultimately I'm going to ask you to help me so we can work together? Here's what this is all about. October of 2010 marks my 11th year online as an internet marketer, and it has been a great run, but it hasn't always been a great run. When I first got started, I struggled a lot, and what really helped me was reading other people's success stories, not just with internet marketing, but with business in general. When I would read testimonials from Dan Kennedy's students or Jeff Paul's students, or even listen to old MLM tapes about distributors who became successful. I'm not even into that kind of stuff. But just hearing success stories of people who made it really kept me inspired and kept my head in the game and kept me focused back when times were tough. And I would like for you and I to work together to put together a collection of success stories that I will publish and freely give away to our community. So somewhere on the site, wherever it may appear, you should see a button. And the button will say, click here to participate in this project, or something professional sounding like that. And what I would like for you to do is that if you have a success story about business, about internet marketing, about direct response marketing, mail order, anything at all that you would like to share with the rest of our community as a means to inspire them and put a positive message in other people's heads, please tell me. And here's what I'm going to do. I'd like to take all of these success stories and then publish them, give them away for free, and then I want to choose the best ones, between 5 and 10 of the best ones, and I want to interview you personally and give those interviews away for free, as well as a means to spread goodwill throughout our community. Now, it's very important that you understand that it doesn't matter who you learn from. This isn't a thin disguise to get you to endorse an affiliate program, a particular guru, or whatever. If you want to talk about who you learn from, great. If you don't, doesn't matter. If you want to promote your website, that's fine. If you don't, doesn't matter. All we're after here is to give people good stuff to put in their brains, inspire the next generation, if you will, so we can hopefully help out our fellow marketers. So when you click on the button, you're going to be asked who you are, obviously, your website, that's optional. I'm going to ask you to submit your success story, and when you do, I'll compile all the best ones, give them away for free, and I'll choose the very best ones and personally interview them and just give all of that stuff away to all of my subscribers and followers, and hopefully it'll go viral and will help a lot of people. So regardless of whether or not you choose to help me in this project, I'd like to thank you for your time in watching this video today. I hope it was helpful for you, and I wish you the best of luck. I'll see you soon.